Okay, right now let's go to the Senate and talk to Senate President Tito Sotto. Good afternoon, sir. No surprise there, you were reelected as Senate President. Good morning pa pala.
Hey, good afternoon, Ruth. Long time no here.
Yes, sir. Oo nga. It's nice to talk to you again, sir. Sir, there were earlier reports of a possible, yung iba may sinusulong before another Senate President, but of course that was weeks ago. Pero how did we get here? Kamusta yung inyong relationship ngayon with the new incoming, with the new senators?
Well, it's very, it's fine. It's very good. What I can promise is that the 18th Congress Senate will be very cooperative, but still independent and well-balanced.
Yes, sir. The Senate has always been seen as an independent institution. Well, compared to, it's always like that. It's been like that compared to the House of Representatives, ano? But we have a lot of the President's allies coming in. How can you assure us na mapapanatili ang independence ng Senado?
Most probably, mahahawa sila sa amin. Imbis na kami mahahawa sa kanila, mahahawa sila to be independent. As I mentioned in my speech, it turns out na talagang lagi, once you are elected nationwide, you tend to be independent-minded because your constituency is larger. And therefore, we can be sure that even the President's men who are now with us will be very independent-minded also.
Even with regards, sir, sa investigations, Senate investigations into possible corruption within the administration, we can still expect more of that, sir.
Oh, of course. That's a matter, of course, as far as the Senate is concerned. That's the reason we have a committee called the Blue Ribbon. It is the only committee that is given a motu proprio power to conduct investigations on public officials, even without a resolution or a Senate committee report.
Okay, sir, other priority legislations dyan sa Senate kasi the last time nabinbin yung sinusulong ng Presidente na federalism. You also have very controversial lowering the minimum age of criminal responsibility, the death penalty. Anong nakikita nating ipapasa and priority ng Senate ngayon?
Priority now, I know for a fact, is the amendment to the Human Security Act, which is going to be called the Anti-Terrorism Act. In fact, the news before you called on me was all about these so-called groups or cells in Mindanao. The Anti-Terrorism Act that the Senate will prioritize will definitely be able to address that problem.
Sir, yung mga ibang medyo contentious, like we have the federalism, anong nakikita ng future ng federalism? Also, yung na-bypass last Congress, ENDO, yung pag-end ng contractualization. Also, the second tranche of the tax reform law.
The ENDO, you know, the ENDO, bale the Security of Tenure Bill, no, is pending in the Senate, in the President's office. We're not sure whether he will sign it or not, but we already passed that as far as the Senate is concerned. And then the federalism will be tackled in the Committee on Constitutional Amendments. But before we even reach the issue of federalism, we will probably have to decide first whether we will agree with the Constitutional Convention or a Constituent Assembly. That is the first step that we have to take before we can even discuss federalism.
At saka yung issue na yan, sir, matagal nang hindi talaga nare-resolve eh. How will the Senate how will the Senate?
Kasi alam mo naman, the issue for us, number one issue is that we must be voting separately. We call for a Constituent Assembly, voting separately. Otherwise, we'd rather support the Constitutional Convention to address the proposal for a federalism.
Sir, yung iba ring usap-usapan, sir, maraming movement, political movement among lawmakers because some are getting ready na rin daw. Medyo malayo pang usapin, but some are getting ready na rin daw for 2020. How can you assure us na bago ang 2020, ano na muna, priority, 2022, sorry, priority na muna, lawmaking muna ang atupagin ng ating mga senador?
Well, as long as I'm the leader of the Senate, we can be sure, you can be sure that we will be addressing the more important pieces of legislation rather than looking at 2022. Besides, 2022 will probably be in the vision of just a few senators, not the entire Senate. So I'm quite confident that we'll be able to carry on.
Okay. Sir, isa pa ito kasi medyo malapit sa bituka yung second tranche of the tax reform law, yung sinasabi nila na trabaho bill. How do you see this moving forward?
I think the Senator Pia Cayetano, who will be chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means, will be able to sift through the rubble, so to speak. Like there are very important provisions in Train 2. Particularly, I'm very supportive of the lowering of the income tax of SMEs. So we will definitely prioritize debates and discussions on the proposed tax reform Part 2.
Okay, Senate President, last lang po, anong expectation nyo? What do you want to hear from the President's State of the Nation address?
I will be hoping to hear from him a continuation of the drug war, but more emphasis on demand reduction strategy, and perhaps a continuation of his report on the Bill program. That is what we expect to hear.
Balikan ko lang sinabi niyo about the drug war. Kanina we were talking to a political analyst. Ang sinasabi niya kasi ang nakikita daw ng marami is the government is not going after the big fish of the drug when it comes to the drug war.
I think that statement is not accurate because as you in the media would know, there were, I think, about 3 or 4 big fishes who were killed, actually, not only arrested. They, I think, were resisting arrest. The one in Mindanao, one in Visayas, there is also one in Luzon. And then again, if we just concentrate on the issue of enforcement, we will never be successful. And therefore, we must be strong on the part of the demand reduction strategy program, which is prevention and rehabilitation. Because the day we stop buying is the day they stop selling. Let us not be surprised on why there is availability of illegal drugs on the streets. Because there are people who buy.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us today. That's Senate President
Thank you, Ruth.
Tito Sotto.